WCW Monday Nitro number 225, also January 10th of the year 2000. So, the most baffling, incomprehensible recap segment ever aired. On Thunder, the NWO tortured Arn. Terry Funk and David Flair tortured Jarrett. There's these two, Nash and Funk, fighting at the pay-per-view, where if Nash wins, he's a commissioner. Also on Thunder, Funk is fighting Brett. There was, as I wrote here, unlimited bullshit.
Unlimited? I'm afraid there was a limit, Vinny.
The NWO was out there, and David was out there, and Arn was out there. I had no idea what was going on, and that's the end. This would have been significantly better not recapping Thunder. So Funk arrives.
It couldn't have been worse than the opening match.
Funk arrives with Larry Zbyszko, Paul Orndorff, and Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
The opening match is, as we eventually learned, Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn versus Kidman and Conan versus David Flair and Crowbar in a three-way Falls Count Anywhere match.
A three-way tag team Falls Count Anywhere match.
Mm-hmm. Now, the bad part is...
The
first bad part was when two teams are in the ring and they start wrestling, and then a third team minutes later hits the ring, and I'm going, what is this match? Are these guys running in?
I actually wrote down it was for the DQ,
but it wasn't.
Informed they were part of the match.
Why do they do this?
I don't know.
This match was a absolute disaster.
It was.
So it was what they call a tornado match. Mm-hmm. You don't tag in. You're all just in the ring at the same time. And let me tell you what happened. There's 6 bodies in the ring. There's a 7th body outside screaming her head off constantly. I was ready to kill myself. And the guys in the ring I swear to God, they all just start doing random moves. They're doing moves here.
Did anyone else hear Tim Flowers' voice screaming, "No bumps in a battle royal"?
Oh my God. Like, they would just do a move wherever they
Saturn's
were.
just suplexing guys.
It doesn't matter if there's a body they're going to land on. It doesn't matter if there's a person in the way. They just are all doing moves. There's bodies everywhere. Daphne keeps screaming. I'm losing my mind. This match was like a parody of professional wrestling.
As we often say.
This was like a match you would see in a movie where they made fun of wrestling and they made fun of wrestling fans, which ironically was Ready to Rumble.
Yeah.
This match could have been in that movie. This was terrible.
This could have been in the ECW arena with Natural Born Killers playing in the background.
That would have been 1,000 times better.
Absolutely.
A billion times better. Is it that hard to have 4 guys brawling on the floor and 2 guys take turns doing stuff? And the answer is no. They've been doing it in Mexico for a century.
The answer, Vinny, is yes. We're in WCW here.
So, in the middle of this, Perry Saturn decides, I shall now go for a walk.
Yeah.
And
maybe he's frustrated. And
he may have been tired of the show.
He took one of the Vinny walks.
He may have been a Vinny walk. It would have been better with music. He just starts going on a trek up the rafters. And he goes up, up, up. He goes north. And he goes west, I suppose, on his journey.
That kind of music?
That'll do for now. And he's like Frodo going to Mount Doom. He's on a mission, a long, arduous mission. So eventually he gets where he's going, and he looks down, and Shane Douglas and Dean Malenko have laid out Rey Mysterio. Ray. Not in the match, by the way, Rey Mysterio.
No, he's just out there on crutches.
Yeah. They have laid him on a table. Saturn jumps from, 15 feet. And it's a gimmick table. There was something underneath it to help, but for some reason they decided, Saturn, you shall take a 15-foot fall through a table today. Through Ray at a table. Mm-hmm. And he did this.
He sells his guts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, you're a moron.
And they pinned him.
Yeah. In storyline, you're really dumb.
Yeah.
They pinned Saturn.
Saturn got pinned because he did a move.
Yeah, he landed on a guy who wasn't in the match.
Right.
But it hurt him.
Yeah.
And so they threw David on top, and so they're still the champions of the world.
They're the best tag team on Earth.
Yes.
The best thing
in the universe. We have no proof there's wrestling anywhere else in the universe.
You don't.
The best thing was the ref was in the way, so they pushed the ref out of the way and then threw David on top, and the ref had to come back.
Stretchered out Ray.
Yeah.
What a waste of the $1,000 for that ambulance.
Yeah. So I know we got to move on, but this is the go-home show for Sold Out 2000.
Yep.
Which is probably the biggest disaster of a pay-per-view there ever was anywhere, where everything that could have gone wrong did.
Is that where Sid killed himself?
I guess that didn't go wrong. That goes wrong.
It was later, right?
I think that maybe sold out the next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
good to know he's around for a while.
He's around for a year. So Anyway, Shane Douglas is on commentary plugging the Revolution will have a mystery partner at Sold Out. I don't know what the match is going to be or who their opponents are, and it turns out none of it matters. I don't think the mystery partner ever showed up.
Oh, this is the Benoit Sid Sold Out.
Benoit Sid Sold Out, yes.
Oh,
That means Benoit's gone in like 2 weeks.
No, he's gone. No, this is
Next
the last
week.
show.
Oh, yeah.
he
yeah.
walks out.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forget if he's on Raw next week or the week after.
He wins the title and then.
and never is gone, never is in WCW again.
Right.
Yeah. So, let's see.
Oh, God.
There you go.
Are we getting that Benoit Hunter match soon? Where
Yes.
Benoit could be carried by Triple H?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I can't wait.
On Thunder, we are told there were more problems and more friction between Harlem Heat. So I'm thinking, okay, problems and friction. There's a misunderstanding. There's a verbal debate. There was an accident in the ring. No, the problems and friction are Stevie Ray pulled out a weapon.
Yeah.
He hit Midnight and Booker T in the back of the head with a weapon.
Yeah, it's friction.
He attempted to kill them.
Friction.
Problems.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem, Vinny.
It is.
Paige and Bagwell were brawling on Thunder. They have an interview segment tonight, and if they cannot conduct themselves as gentlemen before the 5-minute interview segment, they will both face a $50,000 fine.
Have you brought up that announcers were talking about how Funk told them he's booking the show on the fly?
I did not mention that, but that is around here.
He's booking the show on the fly. What a shitty... Jesus.
He's the babyface GM.
He was brought back last week and was just like beaten and humiliated and made to look like an idiot. Now he's booking the show on the fly.
Yeah.
Who hired him? Bill Bush?
Apparently.
Fire that guy while you're at it.
Scott Steiner arrives at the building. It's his birthday, so the NWO got him a present, which is a bunch of women's.
Major Guns is there.
Major Guns is there.
Who was the redhead?
April
Hunter, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm guessing Medeja was somewhere there. There was like a dozen women here.
I didn't see her.
I could be wrong.
I remember her.
All right.
Yes.
Regardless, a bunch of fine-looking ladies here for Scott Steiner on his birthday, and they're happy to see him too. Everyone's having a grand old time. It's this huge party with a bunch of cool-looking dudes and a bunch of hot babes, and then they cut to fucking Terry Funk and his crew. They may as well have been in rockers. They're sitting there drinking Metamucil, grumpy, scowling, not saying nothing.
They're disgusted.
Who in the fuck are you going to cheer for? I'm cheering for the guys having the party. I cannot believe my eyes on this.
I could. You know what you're watching here?
I've
World Championship Wrestling in the year 2000, booked by Vince Russo.
I forgot.
Why are you shocked?
I forgot. Ray is loaded into an ambulance and taken away.
Oh, God, Oklahoma's back.
Steiner tells the women he will pace himself, and he takes 2 of them into his locker room and disappears. Has the others waiting literally in line.
Yes. There's a receiving line.
This fucking
if you will.
This Oklahoma segment.
God damn it. First off, he challenges Medusa for Sold Out for her cruiserweight title.
Yeah.
Let me start over again. Oklahoma, the writer,
Not a cruiserweight.
challenges Medusa, the female,
Right.
for the men's cruiserweight title
Yes.
at the pay-per-view. Okay.
Right.
Then he issues an open challenge to any woman who thinks they can beat up Oklahoma. How long did it take me to run that down? Like 10 seconds?
Sure.
Fucking guy's out there for an hour, rambling on and on and on. Asia finally accepts.
He was talking about Ralph Cramden and Archie Bunker.
From the 50s,
Year
the
2.
fucking honeymooners.
It is now the 21st century. He's talking about ancient Rome, he may as well have been. So, yes, Asia comes out. So, Oklahoma plays scared at first. Then he jumps her in behind. They have a brawl. In the middle of this brawl, Medusa's music hits. She comes out dressed like Lady Gaga. I don't know.
Okay.
Lady Gaga apparently watched Nitro. I don't know why she came out. There's a brawl going on that does not involve her. She comes out.
She's facing him at the pay-per-view.
Is she? He challenged her. She never said anything.
Well, I mean,
She comes
the
out.
writer.
We almost missed this because we're seeing Medusa's entrance, but Oklahoma takes his bottle of barbecue sauce, and every week a bottle must be broken over somebody's head.
Yep.
He breaks his sauce over Asia's head. Why? Why does it have to be every week?
Because,
Does the novelty is worn off for me. I'm done with bottles.
well, don't know what to tell you. They probably bought like a 12-pack of them. You got to do a different bottle of something every week.
There's still bottles left. We had to truck these across the country. So then So Asia's out covered in barbecue sauce. Medusa checks on her, gets in the ring. Oklahoma beats her up, hits her with a broom.
You know what it is, Vinny?
Steals the belt. and
Vinny.
leaves. Yeah.
Oklahoma is Jeff Jarrett. Medusa is China. And they're having a good housekeeping match. He's just bringing over all of his ideas from the other company.
Guess so.
That's exactly what's happening right here.
And pushing his friends. The grumpy old men walk backstage. The NWO checks on Scotty. He's not coming out of the dressing room. Things seem to be going well in there. Dude, when you say this is a better show than last week, Brian, this segment I offer as exhibit counterpoint A.
Well, this was bad.
Yes!
I mean, it went 2 hours.
The greatest thing is, it was bad and it went a really long time.
This is a 2-hour night show that felt like 4 hours, mainly because of this segment.
Mm-hmm.
So, Funk wants Nash and his crew. They call themselves the Old Age Outlaws.
I found these guys off the unemployment line. We are the Old Age Outlaws.
These are the baby faces.
My jaw's hanging open.
It gets better. So Arn does his promo. It's actually a pretty good promo. He threatens to...
He says, I feel ill. Yeah. He's old, grumpy, and ill.
Paul introduces to some of his power plant trainees, including Elix Skipper and Sean O'Hare.
Palumbo
there.
Palumbo was there too?
Sonny Siaki, Kwee-wee.
I missed both of those.
Yeah.
So the NWO comes out. Kevin Nash then cuts the absolute worst kind of heel promo. He says, Funk, you either have Alzheimer's disease or brain damage, or both. I may have to beat your ass tonight. I'm gonna win the commissionership of the pay-per-view next week. You're old, he says, and you get your clothes from Target. Look down in the ring, and there's Funk.
Old.
He's fucking old.
Poorly dressed.
He's got his clothes from Target. I mean, maybe. Probably Value Village.
We just found him.
It's like, dude, you fucking just buried these guys. He just buried them.
That's what he does.
And he's right.
That's the thing.
I understand the psychology of how it is a bad thing to point out your babyface's weaknesses. But look at these people.
Dude,
I was with Nash.
That's why you need to build him up somehow. At least mention he's a hardcore legend. He's crazy. You powerbomb in his fucking head and he's still out there this week. He's tough as they come. This is not hard.
So Funk then books Jarrett.
Oh. As soon as he starts saying there's a series of matches tonight, I was like, oh my God. I remember this.
I did not.
I did.
Yeah. Says, you will face 3 of my very close friends. Jarrett demands who the opponents will be. So they in an amazing coincidence, they have Jarrett, a Tennessee native. They are in Buffalo the weekend after the notorious Tennessee Titans-Buffalo Bills playoff game with a very crazy finish that I will not describe because Brian will lose his mind. But suffice
I'm
to say,
losing my mind enough with this thing right here.
Suffice to say, they're in Buffalo and everyone hates Jarrett.
Jarrett wants to know who are my opponents. There's a long pause. Funk then says...
Okay, Funk must have forgotten his lines.
Don't worry about it, he says.
He just starts repeating himself.
So finally he says Benoit's the referee.
No.
I'm not spending all night on this.
No, we have to let the listeners know how bad it was to sit through. He starts repeating himself, and Nash interrupts and says, hey, who's the ref going to be? Because Nash wants to go home. They say it'll be Chris Benoit.
I want to go home. It's Chris Benoit.
He also books Brett in a title match against Nash tonight. They laugh and say they won't do it.
Oh, now I need to stretch this out.
Okay.
Signs Brett versus Nash. Brett says, you're an idiot. You're senile. You're an idiot. That's what he says. He goes, you're an idiot, you're senile, and you're an idiot.
Yes.
Okay. Funk says, if you guys take it easy on each other, I will suspend both of you. I will suspend you for a year without pay, and Brett, you'll be stripped of the title. Nash says, I save my money. I don't give a shit. I'll take a year off. Brett says, I don't need the money either. I'll take a year off. Now Funk is an idiot.
Yes.
So he's like, fuck. I'll take your belt. So then, like, nothing is handled here.
No.
Steiner then cuts a promo, but they just play a tone.
He's bleeped.
Like no, it's not bleeped. They just play a tone the entire time. Like he's been swearing nonstop for like 30 seconds.
Yes.
One right after the other.
Well, one long bleep. Is what
So then Funk says, tonight, I will wash your mouth out with soap. I went, excuse me? I sat here for 20 fucking minutes, and the main event is you're going to wash Scott Steiner's mouth out with soap?
Yeah.
What?
Somebody saw the Christmas Story over the holidays.
So then, it's over.
15 fucking minutes.
15 fucking minutes. I still don't know if Brett and Nash are going to wrestle or if the belt's being stripped. I don't even think they ever figured that out in this segment.
No.
This sucked.
Oh, it was horrible.
Yes.
Horrible. Funk sends Arn to wait for the limo. Buff Bagwell walks. DDP walks. Arn finds the wrong limo.
Yeah, who was that?
Well, we're told here.
Who?
He opens the
Kimberly.
door and says, I thought it was somebody else. Sorry.
It was Kimberly.
They go to break. When they come back, there's Kimberly Paige
Okay.
all dolled up, and they say
All right.
that was. They tell us that was Kimberly
Okay.
in the limo.
I missed that.
There's a Buff Bagwell that.
Video package.
Thank you. Speaking of packages, in this line, Paige says Bagwell is not big enough or whatever. This causes Buff Bagwell to go sprinting down the ramp as fast as he can to fight, because Paige said he had a small dick.
Yeah. It's fighting words, Vinny.
Paige and Buff have an interview segment.
Okay, so the story is they cannot touch each other for 5 minutes or they'll be fined, what was it, $50,000?
$50,000.
Yeah, bullshit.
They put a timer up.
They had a timer up there. And I got to say, this was a damn good segment
Yeah.
because they buried each other. They pushed every button to try to get the other guy to hit the other guy. The fans were totally into it. Like, I don't know why, but when DDP said he had a small dick, everybody gasped.
Yeah.
And when DDP called him a jack-off, they all gasped.
What about when he called him Puff?
And so here's the story. DDP is accusing Bagwell of having sex with his wife, okay? Why didn't he just go to his wife?
He did say, I was in LA and I called you and said Kim and I were having problems.
Okay, but like, so ask her.
I
Is
guess
talking off limits?
I guess the problems are so bad he can't ask her.
She's at the building right now.
He doesn't know that.
So Bagwell says, listen,
That's actually true.
we're friends. I'm a good listener. But we didn't do anything. DDP refuses to believe it. And Bagwell then says, listen, if Kimberly came up to you, was getting all hot and heavy, would you do it, DDP, if you were in my shoes? DDP says, no, I wouldn't. Bagwell says, I wouldn't either. DDP then says,
Okay.
They're both lying.
so you didn't do it? Bagwell says, no, I didn't do it. I've been telling you that. DDP doesn't believe it. He goes, the boys in the back are telling me you're bragging about how sexy Kimberly's birthmark is. The birthmark only I can see. And Bagwell goes, that's what this is all about? Every guy in the back has seen that birthmark. This is too much for DDP. He punches him.
The timer has expired by now.
Yes.
So he punches him. They have a fight. I like this segment.
Okay, I was bewildered. You have explained it to me now.
Yes.
Bagwell in particular left me baffled because first he was insisting he didn't do it. Then I thought in his speech about what would you do if there was a hot babe there and she was available, Mr. Party Man, Mr. Nightclub, what would you do? I thought he was, I don't know. I thought he was saying you do what I did. Then he said I didn't do it.
Yeah, and then he says, you're right, I didn't do it. So in storyline, we're supposed to believe that Bagwell honestly didn't do it.
Yes.
And DDP is like a crazy, jealous guy.
And I assume...
And let me tell you something, okay? Mm-hmm. You probably remember this too, Vinny. In the late 90s, I mean, the women just changed in the locker rooms.
Yes, they did.
Oh, yeah.
Just totally naked, just right there in the locker room.
Yeah.
So when Bagwell's like, well, everyone's seen the birthmark, I was like, he's right.
Well, not only
Doesn't
that-
mean he slept with her.
She was also in Playboy magazine.
Yeah!
So that's going to be the payoff.
Well, I mean, that could have been airbrushed out. The point of this was, I mean...
There's no airbrushing in the locker room. Spray tan, that's different.
No, there is no airbrushing the locker room. So that's the story.
So, that's all fine and dandy. But then, after he's been punched, Paige punches Bagwell goes down. Then Kim appears on the monitor. Paige, as Craig noted, he did not know Kimberly was there. He's surprised to see her. This lets Bagwell recover, pull out a police baton, and attack Paige violently with a weapon while insisting I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, now you've hit him with a stick. That's bad too.
Well, it's a different kind of bad.
It is a different kind of bad.
Yeah.
But it's bad.
He didn't sleep with his wife. He just beat him with a stick.
He just attacked him with violence.
Yeah, it's different kind of...
It's a different kind of bad.
Different kind of stick, yes.
I mean, come on. DDP was being an asshole here. Bagwell insisted he was innocent. Doesn't mean you should hit the guy with a baton, but...
Nash and Brett are backstage talking about how they're going to get out of this match. It goes badly. It leads to them bickering, and now they're going to fight. They just formed, 3 weeks ago?
About that.
Arn, who is old and ill, is now outside bitching about the cold weather.
Yeah, they just made him stand out there waiting for George Steele to show up.
Car arrives.
Couldn't just have him walk into the damn building.
He should have been out there with a shawl.
I mean, Animal's furry.
Animal's very furry. I honestly forgot how furry Animal was until he got it there. So it's Jeff Jarrett versus a mystery opponent, which turns out to be George Steele.
62 years old at the time.
Wow.
He hit Jarrett with a bunch of weapons. He ate a turnbuckle. He got hit with a guitar, but then Arn hit the ring, laid out Jeff with a spine buster. They put George on top. Benoit did the fastest count you ever saw, and George Steele pinned Jeff Jarrett.
Okay, it doesn't matter, but like I could have sworn that when they announced these matches, like the first match was going to be a wrestling match. The second match was going to be a bunkhouse match.
Correct.
They can't even keep that shit straight.
Yes.
It started with the bunkhouse match.
Yeah. Scott Steiner rotated women. 2 came out, 2 went in. Brett and Nash got taped up for their world title match later. Okay. What is Jeff Jarrett's motivation in the show? He has to wrestle 3 times to get beat up by old people. In the meantime, he's got to go back where Nash and Brett Hall are going to fight. But rather than try to make peace, he like tries to get them to fight more. Tells Nash, we got to throw that Canadian goof out of there. And I think he's trying to drive a wedge between Nash and Brett, but Nash is like, well, I'm going to take the world title from him first. And this catches Jarrett off guard, and he's like, yeah, but then we'll throw him out.
I don't know what's going on.
I have no idea what they were arguing about.
No.
Funk sends poor Arn Anderson back outside in the January Buffalo air to wait for another goddamn limo. They couldn't all come together. Stevie Ray comes out for a promo.
Am I mistaken in hearing Stevie Ray say that they had been held down for years? Did he really say that?
Probably.
They won the tag titles 10 fucking times.
They were the best tag team on earth 10 times. Says everyone got excited for Booker winning, quote, a no good TV title because that's all they wanted you to have.
Oh, maybe Booker's been held back. I don't know what's going on.
So he starts to say Booker T is not from the hood anymore. He doesn't represent the hood. He forgot he came from the hood. And they zoom in. Steve Ray's wearing a Kenny Bernstein baseball hat. Now, I haven't been in the hood in a while. Maybe the funny cars are a lot more popular than I remembered, but I don't think they are. Booker and Midnight come out. They try to make peace. Finally, Booker says, I'm not going to wrestle you tonight. I'm not going to wrestle you at Sold Out. He turns to leave. Stevie smacks him. Booker says, I will wrestle you at Sold Out.
Yes.
But this shit, he says, won't be fixed.
Yeah, let's make sure we mention that he called Midnight a Cracker Jack fruit booty.
Wow.
Now, I guess when he said this shit won't be fixed, I take it to mean our match will be real.
Yes.
Or maybe this shit...
I thought he meant their relationship could
this shit between us got to be repaired. I guess it could be taken 2 ways. Jeff pleads his case to Brett. I still have no idea what's going on with this. Arn is just outside freezing his balls off. Mm-hmm. Jeff Jarrett versus Tito Santana.
Tito Santana comes out and I'm like, God, he looks great for his age.
Okay, when this started, like the first minute...
Yes.
He was only 46.
Yeah.
I thought he was like 56.
Yeah.
He was only 46. He actually looked great.
He looked awesome at first, and then he tried to do the figure 4 and get kicked in the corner and kind of like tumble over the rope to the apron.
Oh, this was the best.
That was the worst.
So, okay, first off, Terry Funk's doing commentary.
Yes.
Calls the NWO roid heads.
A bunch of roid heads.
But then he specifies it's hemorrhoids.
It's hemorrhoids between their ears.
Yeah. So, at one point, he's going for the figure 4, and Jarrett tries to boot him off into the corner. And I think that Jarrett thought, this is where I'm going to cut you off. Tito pulled a Vinny in the shoot battle royal and was like, I'm just going to keep going. So he leaps over the top rope, but he misses.
Badly.
He leaps again and misses. He leaps a third time and goes over. He ends up on the apron. Time stands still. Jarrett is standing completely upright, looking at Tito, like, what's happening here? And Tito just responds by going back, and he does a sunset flip. And Jarrett at the last second has to duck, and he flies over his head for a shoot sunset flip from the fucking outside. Gets a 2 count, and then Jarrett finally cut him off. I died laughing this. Tito was gonna get his shit in.
Yes.
It didn't. I want to know what happened if Jarrett had not ducked, because he was going for this move. It was up to Jarrett to get out of the way.
So Jarrett takes over. He hits the stroke, but they pull him off the pile. Benoit chops him. Orndorff hits the ring, hits a pile driver. They put Tito on top. Another fast count. Tito wins.
That was an awesome pile driver.
Oh,
it was a fucking great pile driver.
Yeah, it was great. And then to the back.
To the back.
Immediately.
To show Tank Abbott walking.
Yeah.
And then Tank Abbott comes out to cut a promo.
So Tank Abbott was
Yes.
very, very nervous, it seemed to me.
Yeah.
He's pacing back and forth. He's nervously rambling his lines. He's challenging Duck Dillinger. That's how he's burying him. He's calling him...
He called him Duck Body many times. I didn't get why.
Because he's Duck Dillinger.
Got it.
Get it?
Duck Body and Duck Boy. He did say at the pay-per-view he's going to kick, quote, Kick Boy Huckleberry Finn's ass.
Yes. Jerry Flynn.
He has to say he's
Huckleberry Finn.
He's fighting Jerry Flynn at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So, then he's going off about Duck Dillinger for a long time. Finally, Doug Dillinger comes out. Tank keeps baiting him. Finally, Doug can take no more. He throws a punch. Don't do this, everyone. Probably in 2019, probably still a bad idea to throw a punch at Tank Abbott.
I don't know.
He takes Doug Dillinger down. Security and cops subdue him. They are cuffing him. At this point, Jerry Flynn runs out, kicks him in the head, and runs away. And Tank just gets him and laughs this off. Tank's promo was... I was expecting much worse, I'll say that.
You were?
Yes.
Wow. Can imagine.
But the actual angle, Tank looked like a maniac. It took a dozen guys with cuffs to lay him out. Then Jerry Flynn ran out to kick him in the head, and Tank laughed this off. Now these two maniacs are going to fight on the pay-per-view.
Well, this is the man Russo wanted to make champion.
Hey, you know what?
When the shit hit the fan.
In hindsight, there are worse ideas.
Vinny, the problem is you're looking at this through 2018 eyes, when every geek and their mother had been the world champion.
Yeah.
Okay, at this point, like, the idea of Jeff Jarrett as champion was like, Jeff Jarrett? The world champion?
That is true.
So yes, Tank Abbott as champion was a bad idea.
Well, Tank Abbott's a better idea than Jeff. I would say Tank is a better idea than what they ultimately ended up going with.
Sid?
Yes.
I strongly disagree. Sid is an excellent champion. He is the personification of professional wrestling, Vinny. Do not denigrate him.
Jeff is backstage muttering to himself. Jimmy Snuka arrives. Brett puts on his gear. Kevin Nash stretches.
Okay, hold on. Before I even go one word further, they show Brett, and he's like taping up his feet or something. Then they show Nash, and he's sitting on the ground, and he's like reaching down and stretching. The very next shot is Benoit on his stomach.
Yeah, face down
like,
on the ground.
What stretch is he doing? I swear to God, I thought he was doing some sort of weird warm-up.
He's face down on the ground, and the camera's like next to his head.
Yeah, but he's like...
It's not that the cameraman walked in.
He's like in a half push-up position.
Sorta.
I'm thinking he's doing a stretch or he's doing a warm-up. They alert us he's been beat up.
It's not like the cameraman walked in and just found him.
No, they put the camera on the ground.
The camera walked in and said, "Oh, Chris Benoit's been laid out. We'll get a good shot of it. Then we'll cut to it." So Benoit's laid out. As these two, Jeff Jarrett versus Jimmy Snuka in a cage match.
Snuka, 56 years old.
Yeah.
Even though Benoit got knocked out, he just lurches down to the ring.
Can I just say, by the way, that of all the people to be a special referee and wear a ref shirt that's actually too big,
Yeah.
they couldn't get the super tight ref shirt for Benoit?
No. So, oh, man.
Do you want to get into it?
I mean, we had Benoit and Jimmy Snuka in the ring together.
Yeah.
That's weird.
The most uncomfortable Nitro moment of all time.
I think one of the more uncomfortable wrestling moments of all time.
Well, yeah.
Especially because the two of them...
Ganged up on together.
Not just that. The two of them did suicide dives off the cage.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, let's just cut to the chase. Mm-hmm. So Snuka does a big splash off the cage onto Jarrett.
Yeah.
Which apparently gave Jarrett a concussion. Mm-hmm. But, like, he landed perfectly.
Yeah.
So I guess just the...
It turns out doing a splash off a cage is actually dangerous,
I guess maybe it is. And then Benoit did the diving headbutt, counted the pin. So Jarrett beaten again by Jimmy Superfly Snuka with help from Chris Benoit.
And all the other old age outlaws were out there, too. It's like an 8-on-1 or whatever.
And by the way, forget everything you know about Snuka and Benoit. Let's just talk about the action that occurred in this ring. A 56-year-old guy climbed on top of a steel cage and did a big splash. Another guy on the top of this cage was followed up with a diving headbutt. So you got this cage and there's two dudes on it. The place is going nuts.
Yeah.
The building is shaking. One guy jumps off, boom. Other guy jumps off, boom. This guy counts the pin. It was to the back faster than you can fucking imagine.
Yeah.
There's no replay. There's no recap. There's nothing. Do you know how many times I've seen Jimmy Snuka come off the fucking cage in 1983?
Thousands.
A billion times. This guy comes off a cage, 56 years old in the year 2000. They got away from that so fast. I couldn't even believe my eyes. I'd have been furious.
Well, it's very important they show Bret Hart, and I say all the time, so-and-so walks. Bret Hart is power walking towards the ring area. That's what Tony Schiavone said.
He was power limping.
Fuck this show, dude.
Nash is still walking. Scotty is starting to get worn out, but the women throw champagne in his face to wake him up. So it's Bret Hart versus Kevin Nash in the main event. Kevin Nash walks out. They do the Wolfpack music. He's not a fast man. He saunters out. It takes a long time. He does his whole entrance. Suddenly they cut backstage. Larry Zbyszko and Paul Orndorff have Scott Steiner tied up in the locker room. Scott Steiner's wearing only boxer shorts and his sunglasses.
As one does.
As one does. And Terry Funk walks up and, as promised, puts a bar of soap in Scott Steiner's mouth.
He washed his mouth out with soap.
He sure did.
Hey, you know what? On Raw, they promised me that we were going to get to see Kane beat up fake Mankind, and they didn't deliver.
They failed.
On Nitro, they promised that Terry Funk would wash Scott Steiner's mouth out with soap. They gave it to me.
They did.
I'll give him credit for that.
Fair enough.
You know what else I got to say about this Bret Hart-Kevin Nash match?
What's that?
Bret had, I don't even know how many concussions he'd suffered in the last 2-week period. He was ruined. His career was over. One of the greatest wrestlers of all time, his career ended as a result of all of these head injuries. He still went in there and had a better match with Kevin Nash than any match I've seen Kevin Nash in years. Can you imagine?
That's probably true. I was bored to tears by it, but it's Kevin Nash.
Dude, it was a perfectly fine match.
They just did a bunch of random shit and nobody cared.
I was bored as well.
It was very long. Went much longer than it needed to.
When's the last Kevin Nash match? Singles match that lit your world on fire.
I agreed you had a point there.
Yes, it was a very good match.
It was the best Kevin Nash match I saw.
Yes, with a multiple concussed guy.
I did. To be fair, I did note it's kind of amazing. This is Bret's last real match, and though the match as a whole is not entertaining, Bret's execution of these maneuvers remains awesome.
Yeah,
He just do a little elbow.
he was incredible.
Cool. He was
He's one of the all-time greats.
He really, really was.
And when you take into consideration the state of mind he was in while doing it.
Yes, an all-time great.
So the announcers point out how weird it is. These guys just got back together 3 weeks ago, and they're already fighting.
You don't say.
Now that who knows? The world fell apart for WCW after this, so we'll never know if they had a plan to go somewhere with it. But it was weird and random. Okay, let's see.
Did you notice Bret was in a t-shirt, jorts?
Well, I think the gimmick was he was not prepared to wrestle tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, I just figured this is where Cena got his gimmick.
Bret Hart did wear jorts long before John Cena was around. That's true. So eventually, Arn comes out. He attacks Nash with a pipe. Sid shows up. For the first time in the show, Sid shows up. And in fact, it was not until during this match they pointed out, hey, folks, on the pay-per-view on Sunday, it's Bret Hart versus Sid for the world title.
Yeah.
Now, just as well, they didn't plug it.
Even they figured out the finish.
It didn't happen.
That they couldn't figure out on Raw.
Yeah. Yeah. So, this went on for a bit. The cage lowered. I forget what the ref won. It doesn't matter. Sid chokeslammed and powerbombed Bret and made a cover, and Arn counted 3.
Well, the ref, Arn Anderson, comes down and he hits Nash with a lead pipe.
Yeah.
He's in a ref shirt, and he tells Charles Robinson to get out of here.
Okay.
He tells Bret, I owed you. I still have no idea for what. I don't even care. Sid comes down, kicks a chair into Bret's head. They lower the cage. Sid hits a power bomb. Arn counts the pin. So Arn saved Bret, but then allowed Sid to kill him and counted the pin.
I don't know.
Yes.
And then Terry Funk comes out with a branding iron that's on fire and burns Kevin Nash in the stomach.
Yeah, Nash is on his back. Like, listen, I don't want you to really brand somebody. Nash is on his back after he got laid out, and he looks like he's like 15 months pregnant.
Sure.
He's just got this giant lump on his stomach right here. He's flat on his back with this giant lump. And
15 months.
And Nash comes down and...
He has a child. He should know how this works.
Vinny, you're missing the point, you fucking moron. He looked twice 9 months pregnant. That's how big his belly was.
15 sure is twice.
You know the point I'm trying to make, you idiot.
He's very pregnant.
Yes, he's massively pregnant. He's pregnant like a whale gets pregnant.
How's that?
Gigantic!
I see.
A big lump.
Spectacularly, I would think.
Yes, that's what
Must be
Nash
quite
looked
a
like.
sight.
And they branded his guts, and that's the end of that.
That's the end. That's how Nitro went off the air.
The show ends. The show ended, everybody. Terry Funk branded Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
Yep. Double
What?
cross.
And I thought, is Sid the champion right now? He just pinned Brett.
I thought
Stranger things on Nitro have
I
happened.
thought this was a title change.
Yes.
But it turns out it was not.
So, I think now that we're done, Brian, you were right.
Thank you.
This was a better show than last week's show.
Well, I want to say it was better. It wasn't as bad. Okay. There's a big difference.
Key distinction.
Yes.
But God, that fucking Funk promo in the middle
It was really
just went on
horrible.
forever.
Terrible.
He was 20 when it started.
I mean, part of the problem, Vinny, is I watched Brock and Braun Strowman last night.
How was that?
They didn't do anything.
Braun forgot every fucking line. Heyman's trying to lead him through it. One of Braun's lines is, "Oh, Brock, you're going to stand behind your advocate." And Brock's clearly in front of Heyman. And Heyman's like, "I'm behind him." It was so bad. So looking at this, like, this was bad. But, like, wasn't that bad.
It was worse.
I don't know if it was worse, but they were both fucking terrible. All right, you ready?
I'm prepared.
All right, here we go.
The finishes on this show were pin in a falls count anywhere 3-way tag match when a guy jumped out of the balcony to put a guy who was not in the match through a table, and then the jumper immediately got pinned. Pin after interference and fast count. Pin after a lot of interference and a fast count by a crooked ref. Pin after a lot of interference and fast count by a crooked ref. That's a mistake. I did that twice. No finish due to pinfall in main event after interference and more interference and a cage and a flaming branding iron.
See, look, that was 29 seconds, dude.
There was no matches on this show.
The first hour, they did that 3-way tag match, and then there's no wrestling for the next hour.
All right, everybody. Hey, look, finally, we're back to an hour and 10 minutes. There was a period where every Brian and Vinny and Craig Tuesday show was exactly like an hour and 9 minutes or something like that. So we're back to that. Quick plug. If you want to subscribe to our YouTube page, well, you're a subscriber, so you don't need to, so don't worry about that. But video.f4wonline.com. I do recommend you sign up to that. All of the Brian and Vinny shows go up there. And also, starting this week, all of the Wrestling Observer Lives are up there. So you're getting a lot for your subscription price at video.f4wonline.com. And I have been alerted that Figure 4 Daily tomorrow with my partner in crime, G-Raff, Filthy Tom Lawler, is going to be airing at video.f4wonline.com as well. So check that out. And that's it. We're going to wrap it up from here. I'll be back tomorrow with Tom, Observer Live, and Observer Radio. Lots of great stuff. Check it out. Fine, Rob. Fuck.
I didn't say a word.
I know. Go.
All right. Our good friend Ed in San Antonio wanted me to remind everybody that he is working on setting up a Brazilian barbecue lunch for the Saturday, for the Black Label Pro event.
It's not Saturday.
Well, it just says for the Saturday afternoon, and then a bus to Mania the day of. Oh, sorry. And then he also wanted me to plug his show that he's promoting.
He's promoting.
Yes.
Isn't Mikey?
Well, according to the tweet, which he asked me to read, says, Ed in San Antonio Productions, in conjunction with Black Label Pro, presents the biggest and best women's wrestling match, Mania Weekend on April 5th. It will be Team USA, captained by Jordan Grace, against Team International, captained by Shazza McKenzie.
And he's promoting this show.
He is.
I did not know he was promoting that show. Interesting.
Maybe he just booked the is it the main event?
Didn't say.
You're in the main event, right, Brian?
I'm not the main event.
You should be.
Why?
We'll talk about this later, everybody. We'll talk about it tomorrow with Filthy Tom. So that's it, everybody. Want to wrap it up? We'll talk to you again after a while.
Good night.
Adios.